is Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage, your home for everything Wisconsin sports. Now, your host, Trage.
Oh, that new intro just goes hard. I don't know what it is, but that trumpet in there, that goes hard there. That was fantastic. The new intro for the show here. Welcome in to Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. I'm your host, Trage. It's a Wednesday night. And the Badgers lost. So we got to get into that tonight here. We got lots to get into. I got Badger talk to get to. Wisconsin women's basketball. I believe they got the win tonight against Michigan there, but they're in the news for a not so good reason. So we're going to get into that tonight. I want to get to a little bit of Brewers. We got some Packers to get to. We got lots to get to tonight here on the show. Tonight, Aaron's with me. Aaron, how we doing? It's Wednesday. How we doing on this Wednesday?
Dude, chaotic week so far. I'm not going to lie to you. Just chaos. I'm trying to thrive under those conditions, but we're taking it one day at a time. Just like football team, right? Like just like the Packers, they'd say, we're trying to go 1-0. That's what I feel like every day this week. But it's all right. Could be worse. Not trying to sound like a Debbie Downer. It's just been a little too much. But yeah, I'm happy to be here. This will be at least a little bit of sanity. A break in the action. So.
That's what we try to give everybody out there. We want to give people a source of sanity, right? Get away from the bad stuff and get to some sports talk. That's what we want. That's what we want when we come on here, is just to settle everybody down after that Badger game, settle everybody down after what's going on in the world, settle everybody down. Like, that's what we want to do. So that's what we're going to do here. Like we always say, you guys can find us across social media: Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, TikTok. On Twitter, Twitch, and TikTok, find us there at Wisco Sports on the Go. And if you want to find us on Facebook and YouTube, that's Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. And pretty soon here, starting February 12th, you can find us on 92.3 WOSQ. We're going to start on Wednesdays there, 7 to 8. We're going to have a show on there starting up here pretty soon. It's going to affect the live schedule. We won't be live on Wednesdays because we'll be on the radio. So we'll have that show for you on Wednesdays there on the radio instead of across the live platforms. Not affecting the Sunday and Friday, just the middle of the week for now. But with that, Aaron, let's get to it. Let's get into it today here. I had one about Jackson Chourio because I was watching on MLB Network. They were doing the top, I believe it was the top right fielders or whatever they listed Jackson Chourio as at that time. And I wanted to talk about his adjustments that he made last year, because these numbers, Aaron, are mind-boggling for a 20-year-old to go through this kind of stretch, right? So through the first 54 games of the season, Jackson Chourio was batting .209. His on-base percentage was .251. Slugging percentage, .337. He had a WRC plus of 63, and his strikeout percentage was 27.2. Okay? That was through the first 54 games. Now let's look at the last 94. 306 batting average, 362 on base percentage. His slugging went up to 525. His WRC plus went up to 143. That was actually third best among current left fielders since June 8th at the time there. And his strikeout percentage dropped to 18.3. That's nuts. That's a 20-year-old through 54 games to be able to make those adjustments. Those adjustments to, at one point, I mean, there was people talking about, hey, and I was one of them. I said, hey, maybe it's time we send him back down to AAA. Just let him get it figured out. Let him get it figured out, then bring him back up. Don't try to force it at the big league level. Pat Murphy, he was the opposite, right? He's like, let's let it go. He's got it. He's just got to settle down. And it was a lot on the guys in the clubhouse too, right? Freddie Peralta and William Contreras. Willie Adames was huge, right? That's what sucks to see Willie go, is Willie Adames was huge in that too. Getting him to the ballpark, getting him confident, keeping him up, right? Keeping him confident, keeping him up the whole time there. And you saw the numbers just increase. This was a guy who just, took the punches right off the bat and then turned it around. And when Christian Yelich went down, became the Brewers' most consistent, you wanted that guy at the plate kind of guy. That's what he was. Like when Christian Yelich went down, it was like, who's going to replace that production, right? This was around that time where in that first stint when Yelich went down, where everybody was like, oh, goodness, right? Yelich is batting 300. How are we going to replace that? How are you going to replace that right now? Insert Jackson Churio. And he just took off. He saw that opening. He saw that gap and was like, this is my opportunity to step up, help my guys out, help the crowd, get the crowd riled up. That's what he did. Jackson Churio became that dude for the Brewers. I don't know, Aaron. I just looked at those numbers. I'm like, this is absolutely nuts. The way that this guy was able to produce at the plate for the Brewers, especially after that slow start. Some young guys are going to, Jackson Holiday. Look what he did. I mean, he kind of had the slow start and it just kept getting worse and it kept getting worse and it kept getting worse. Jackson Churio, it got worse, but then it got a whole lot better. He stuck to it, didn't give up, kept giving her every day, showed up early to the ballpark, got the work in, and it showed. And I just love to see stats like that out of a young guy.
No, absolutely. I mean, sky's the limit, right? We're talking about, you bring up Jackson Holiday, you bring up Jackson Churio, like these guys are like larger than life already, just like they're what they're supposed to be, right? And we're talking about Churio here. Like the kid has like all the potential in the world, like had a good season, had a good season by any means, but you expect them to just build on this, maybe not right this next season, maybe stay around the same, but the sky, like I said, is the limit. He's one of those guys you can almost label like he could be a 5-tool guy. I mean, with the speed that he has, he has some pop in the bat. It's not like he's just a contact hitter. I mean, he ends up with 21 home runs, there last year. So, legged out 29 doubles, like, everything you like to see. Like he's a very promising player. It's just one of those things where it's like, as I don't see how he doesn't, become a consistent player in the MLB if you can do it this early. Now, I going into second years is a little tough only because now they have tape on you, like, considerably more tape than they did last year. But, good players will make adjustments to that. And I think he's a good player. So, he might go through stretches where it's like, oh, here we go. But, I mean, he's so young in the process. Like the guy's wet behind the ears, for lack of a better term. And it's like, yeah, I mean, you got to love what he provides already. And if he can just continue on this path, even through the ups and downs, and hey, baseball, you fail out 7 out of 10 times, you're a Hall of Famer. I mean, if you can bat 300, that's the goal, right? So like that's the golden standard. So I like a lot, what I see out of Jackson Churio, and I think I don't see why he doesn't continue on this trajectory going forward.
I agree 100%. John, I see in the comments there, we'll get to the Badgers. I don't want to jump around here too much around the Brewers right now. We'll get to the Badgers with that question there. But yeah, I agree. I loved looking at that stat because it shows a guy with a boatload of potential, but a guy who's not going to just quit. A guy who's not going to let it get rattled, right? Young guys, they get rattled. It kind of goes downhill fast. This was a guy, he didn't get rattled. He just stuck with it, stuck with the process. And Pat Murphy stuck with him. The guys stuck with him. They stayed in his corner, and it proved and it showed right there. So I saw that Hung Sung Kim got signed. Did you see that?
I did.
Who got him? The Tampa Bay Rays for like 29 mil?
Yeah, exactly that.
Where are the Brewers? Where are the Brewers on that deal? I don't get it. I really don't. That's a contract that's like screams Milwaukee Brewers. We have a little bit of money to spend. We're talking about replacing somebody in the infield, right? Somebody from second base over. We got to replace a position there. Hung Sung Kim. He's right there. Right there for the taking. That contract, you could afford it every single day and twice on Sunday. And yet, we just stay pat. Right? Oh, well, we'll make it work, right? What are you going to do now, right? I mean, something like Hung Sung Kim's gone, okay? So now what do we do? Go back to the drawing board, right? Oh, well, Yohan Moncada's still out there. You never know what you're going to get out of Yohan Moncada. Yes, I vouch for him. Like, yeah, we should grab this guy up. I didn't think Hung Sung Kim would sign for a deal that small, to be honest with you. I thought he'd make a little bit more money. This deal was nothing. The Dodgers, yes, they're ruining baseball. I've heard a lot of people asking that question. Are the Dodgers ruining baseball? Yes, they are. They're ruining baseball. That is no doubt. I don't know, unless you're a Dodgers fan, how you do not believe that the Dodgers, Yankees, those teams are ruining baseball. I don't. Like, this is just getting ridiculous at that point. But it's just really ridiculous. And there's Dustin in the comments there. It's just not league minimum. Yeah, if Hung Sung Kim was going for league minimum, we would have signed him up. We would have loaded him up to the back half of the roster. I saw a video today. Somebody posted it was of Logan Morrison, because I saw Trevor Bauer goes, there's only about 20 hitters in the league that could hit me right now. 20 hitters in all of baseball. That's what Trevor Bauer said. Him and Shohei Ohtani's the best pitcher in baseball, and then Trevor Bauer's number 2. That's what he said.
Wow.
And I was like, and then I saw it was, I can't remember who posted it. Oh, it was Grant Bills. He's fantastic. Wisconsin guy, Grant Bills there. He goes, Sal Frelick would have put you in the Mountain Dew deck. And I just laughed. And then that's when I saw another person posted, and they posted a video. It was Trevor Bauer's pitching and Logan Morrison. I don't know if you remember Logan Morrison, but he took Trevor Bauer deep. And I forgot that Logan Morrison played for the Brewers for a year. That was actually the last stop he had in the bigs, but he played for the Brewers for a year. That was at the same time that Justin Smoke also came to the Brewers. And that was our first base combo, Logan Morrison and Justin Smoke. That tells you how cheap we are. There you go. We had Logan Morrison and Justin Smoke going back to back there at first base. And then we gave up on those two and went some, elsewhere with the first base duties there. But yes, I mean, that contract was peanuts. And again, where are the Brewers? Where outside of the Nestor Cortez trade, Devin Williams basically, right, leaving, and we got Nestor Cortez. Outside of that, we haven't done anything.
Absolutely like Reese, nothing. I mean, if you consider just bringing Reese on that was more so his option. Like he exercised.
He just accepted his option. Like, and if you're a Brewer fan or maybe in Brewers management, did you want Reese back? Like honestly, after last season, and now you're a cheap organization. Do you want to spend $8 million or $18 million on Reese Hoskins? I don't know if they wanted to. So like it was an option that I don't even know if the Brewers wanted. I don't even know if they wanted him back. Me personally, I wanted him back because I think he's going to have a huge season next season. I think if there's a guy with drive, it's going to be him. If you're banking on Woodruff coming back and Yelich getting healthy and all this other stuff, and that's going to fix it all, I just don't think the Brewers have enough to get over top. They have enough guys to get to the playoffs. I still think they're the best team in the NL Central. Like, don't get me wrong. I think they're the best team in the NL Central. The Cubs have done a lot to get better. They got Kyle Tucker. I think they've done a lot to get better. I think the Pirates are going to be a little bit better. I don't think they're going to be great. The Reds, I think they're going to be a little bit better. They're not going to be great. The Cardinals, they're like a fire sale down there. You don't even know what they're doing right now. But the Cubs, I think they've done a little bit to get better, but I still think the Brewers are the team to beat. But the question is, it's not just about it's like we talk about with the Packers every year. It's like we talk about with the Steelers. It's like we talk about with all these good teams, right? All these teams that get to the playoffs. You can get there. But what the heck's the point on winning the NL Central 14 times over again if you get to the first round of the playoffs and you get dumped in a wild card against the number 6 seed? What the heck's the point? When you lose to the Mets in your home stadium, when the Diamondbacks come to town and you get completely just kiboshed and you leave 16 guys in scoring position. What is the point? At some point, you got to get over that hump. You have to do something to take yourself to the next level. Otherwise, you're just the Oakland A's. You're basically the White Sox. What do you do? You're making the playoffs. Great. You made a little bit more money that year because you made the playoffs. You got the fans excited for a little bit. But if you can't get over that hump, what's the point, right? So Dustin said there, need a vet in the clubhouse with Willie gone. I agree. I agree. And that's where I thought Hung Sung Kim would be that kind of vet. He'd be that vet to come in. He's not old yet, but he would have been that vet to come in there, kind of settle things down. I think Reese is going to be a big aspect in that too, along with Christian Yelich coming back there. I think he's also going to be one of them guys for you there. So I would agree there. We do have one across text in line too. Sounds like the NFC North. Yeah. Yeah. It sounds like the NFC North this year. You get into the playoffs, you get to the wild card round, you get dumped, right? Zadarius Smith has got an NFC North title ring made up. Did you see that? You see that picture across Twitter there?
Yeah.
Zadarius. Oh man. I just laughed. Laughed.
My thing with the whole Brewers, like, okay, because I equate them, like, I think they're very similar to how the Orioles operate. Like, I look at those two franchises and it's eerily similar. The thing is with both those teams, like if you're talking smaller market, like Milwaukee there, why, if you're not going to go out with the free agent market, like we know they're not going to be a massive player, right? They're not going to be the Dodgers. They're not going to be the Yankees. Now the Mets have emerged as like a huge player, you know, obviously with the new ownership. But like when you think because I don't think the Brewers have a bad a farm system there. I don't know if it's like top 5 or top 10, looking there, but they have some guys down there, and I know they hang on to them like crown jewels because they're not going to go out and get the big name players. But my thing is like, why not if you're kind of like licking the jar, right? You're in the playoffs, you're showing up, but then you get bounced, showing up, get bounced. Why not shoot some of these prospects out? Go get a guy at the trading deadline because you're not gonna probably re-sign him. Like that's the thing.
Yep.
The Brewers aren't going to spend the money to re-sign him, and they're not going to go out in free agency and make a massive move. I mean, maybe they make a lateral move and get a little bit better, but it's not like you're talking over the top. And I mean, look at this Dodgers team. Like I don't even care about the Phillies or anybody else. I mean, the Mets to a certain extent, but like you have to almost think, how do we get closer to the Dodgers? Like, because that is like, I mean, that's an all-star team. That is literally, and they just add and add and add and add. Pitching, lineup doesn't matter. So, like I said, if I'm the Brewers, I just don't get why, you have this window right now where the Cardinals are crappy. Like, and that's what you like to see if you're a Brewers fan. The Reds, I mean, I like the fact they went and got Francona. I think that's a great move for that team, but they're still not, they don't have the pieces right now. So who knows? Like they're not a great, like the NL Central is one of the easier divisions right now, So it's like, why not just load it up? Like load your team up, try and compete with the big dogs because you can probably overtake everybody for the division. We'll see how it shakes out, but I have confidence they can compete at the very least for the division. So why not roll the dice and kind of shoot some of these prospects out of your system to go get an established, whether it be a third baseman or whether it be a top of the line starter. Now with Burns being out of there a couple of years, you don't, like you said, you don't know with Woodruff, you don't know with Yelich. Like, do you have enough? Do you have it? And I would say no at this particular moment, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, I would agree. And that's where we talked about like Jefferson Cuero the other day. One of your top catching prospects in all baseball, top in your system there. What is your plan with William Contreras? Because if you're expecting him to stay long-term and you're going to sign him, which we hope maybe they will, right? Spend the money. If you're going to sign him up, Jefferson Cuero's services, not really needed. So find a trade package, right? I mentioned the other day with the Phillies, right? The Phillies, JT Realmuto is getting older. I don't know what their their system looks like for prospects there, but Jefferson Cuero is probably a little bit better than what they got, right? Especially because he's one of the top prospects in baseball. So you got to be looking around and say, who's got pieces that we could use, maybe a third baseman, and what can we do with them there? So I'm looking at that there. Todd did have something in here. Todd said the Brewers pitching is very questionable. I would agree because it's going to be it's going to hinge on what does Brandon Woodruff do? What does he look like when he comes back? Because right now we're banking on a lot of question marks. If you're the Brewers, Brandon Woodruff, is he healthy? When he comes back, is he going to be ready to go? Tobias Myers, we saw him. He was fantastic down the stretch. Are you going to get that again? Right? And then you think about the other guys that you got around. Freddie. What's Freddie going to give you? Because we know Freddie's good for about a 3-ish ERA there. Will it sit around that same mark? You look down the line there, Nestor Cortez. What is he going to bring to the Brewers? With the Yankees, it was subpar at times. What are you going to get? Is he going to stay healthy? That's going to be a big question mark. The young guys, DL Hall. What can you expect out of DL Hall? A lot of people hate him. Some people like him. I don't know what he's going to give you. Aaron Ashby, you never know. I mean, you just have so many question marks up and down the rotation. I think the bullpen's fine. I like the bullpen. I like Trevor McGill. Abner Uribe is going to come back out there if he gives you what you had last year. I love it. Brian Hudson was a great find last year for the Brewers. Jared Koenig was great. You look down the line there, you're going to have Payamps in there. You're going to have Paguero. I think the bullpen's going to be fine. The rotation's where the question marks come. And the Brewers, they find a way, right? They always find a way. At some point, I think finding a way is going to catch up to you. I think that's going to catch up to you. Jack Flaherty's still out there right now. I don't know what the market is for Jack Flaherty, but that's the top of the rotation kind of guy. That's a guy that can set you apart. You need guys that are going to set you apart. Because if you think about it, you're not beating the Dodgers by loading your lineup up. Your lineup can do what they can do. You're not going to buy the bats to load up to be able to do that. What's going to be the missing piece, right? the starting pitching? Can you limit what the Dodgers can do? I mean, you're going to have young guys, right? I forgot Jacob Mizorowski, too. He could be a potential guy to be in that rotation or in the bullpen. So it's going to be hinging on what can that starting rotation do for you. So I agree, Todd. The pitching is very questionable, if you had to ask me. He also went on to say it is an easy division that makes the Brewers look better than they actually are. That's 100%. That's what we're saying. Like, the Brewers are good enough right now to win the NL Central. Beyond that, that's where our problem's coming right now, right? 2018 was the best shot. That was the best shot. They took the Dodgers to Game 7. Now it's like you get there, but you get the Braves, right? And then you had the Mets, and then you had the Diamondbacks. Then you had the Mets. You had the National Series in 2019 where the ball went through Trent Grisham's legs, right? I mean, you just had year after year after year of division. I mean, it is wild card rounds, divisional. It's just one and done, right? One and done. And it's like, when are you going to get over that hump? So that's kind of, oh, yep. And Todd went on to say Gasser. I forgot about Robert Gasser when he comes back, right? And if that's another question mark. What does Robert Gasser bring you coming off of injury? There's so many guys. There's a lot of potential. I love the potential of the Brewers starting rotation. It's just a question of, will that potential succeed? That's what we got to see there. And then we got the Red Shed. Nice to see you in there. We haven't seen the Red Shed in here a while. Fellas, he goes. Nice to see you in there, Red Shed. We got to get to a break. We're going to get to an ad break here. We're going to come back. Keep the questions coming in. I love your guys' questions so far and your comments there. Keep them flooding in here tonight here on the show. We're going to hit the ad break. We're going to come back. We got lots more to get into. We got the Badgers. They sadly dropped the game there in Maryland. We got to get to that tonight. We want to talk a little women's basketball because there's a little bit of interesting stuff happening with the women's basketball team. So we want to get to that. We got some Packer talk to get to. So we got lots to get into. We'll be right back after this quick ad.
This show is brought to you by these fantastic sponsors. Pittsville Farm and Home Center. At the store, they serve you anything from hydraulic hoses to red roses. Stop in to see the awesome crew at Pittsville Farm and Home Center in Pittsville. Next, we have Sport and Spine Clinic of Greenwood. Have you been injured recently, whether it was at work, shoveling snow, or mowing the lawn? Stop in and see Chad at Sport and Spine Clinic in Greenwood. He will get you right, get you back to work, back to shoveling snow, back to mowing the lawn, doing whatever you were doing, feeling better than ever. And then we have Game Day Supply in Onalaska. Do you have a sports club or team? Are you looking for some sweet custom uniforms or apparel? Check out the awesome crew at Game Day Supply in Onalaska to help your team get the sweetest gear.
Sweet gear indeed. You got to check them out there. We all got to get the swag. Got to support us here on the show there. I did see an interesting fact. I saw it across Twitter earlier today here from Jordan Lapnow is his name there on Twitter. He said, and this was the quote, Sparta, Wisconsin. So Sparta, Wisconsin boys basketball ended a 43-game losing streak against La Crosse Central last night. So that was last night there. The previous win for Sparta was all the way back in 2003. Wow. I mean, there's utter dominance of a team, and then there's utter dominance of a team. 43 straight games they dropped to La Crosse. I just saw that stat. I was like, wow. Just wow. I did not know. I saw another one that in Minnesota, you can play. Minnesota allows high school basketball players to participate in varsity basketball for 6 years, from 7th to 12th grade. I didn't know that. I did not know that. Around here, like, you get in high school, you're like 9th grade, freshman year of high school. 9th through 12th, that's your high school year. 7th and 8th is more of a middle school. But in Minnesota, it's allowed 7th through 12th there. So I saw the questions because somebody asked it and they said, so then try out as a freshman, JV, and varsity teams, or are there 7th and 8th graders on high school teams? And they said they can play on whatever team the coaches want, but no high school kids on 8th or 7th grade teams. It's just weird. That's just odd to think about. What is it like in Pennsylvania? Like, is it 9th through 12th? That's your high school?
Yeah, that it's like just like yours, conventional. 9. Like there,
what is going on in Minnesota? Like,
I can't say that's probably not the overwhelming majority, right? And like,
yeah,
it was rare out here, for a freshman to play on the. I mean, we had guys like playing on the varsity team as freshmen, but that's like you're a stud among studs. So like, yeah, no, I didn't know that was a thing. I mean, more power to the guy that can make it from the middle school, level, or middle school age, I should say, to the varsity high school team. That's wild.
Yeah, no, I would agree. Let's jump to the Badgers. I was gonna wait. I was gonna get to the women's, but I want to get to the Badgers here because we had a couple comments on the Badgers here right away. So I'm gonna get into that one. This is from. So we'll jump over to that game. Maryland over Wisconsin. They're 76-68 was the final there. The Badgers they were down 1 going into half. John Blackwell, Tanjay got into foul trouble there late in the half there. About 9 to go. Blackwell was out with 2 fouls there, and then Tanjay went out about 6. And the Badgers struggled to find anything going into that half. Coming in the second half there, that's when the floodgates opened for Maryland and the threes were falling and everything was getting crazy there. But I see the red shed in here, and I want to get to his comments. Worried about Blackwell. 9 assists to 15 turnovers in the last 5 games. Total flip from his numbers during the winning streak. What helps the team more? Klesmit regaining his form or Blackwell cleaning up his game? Oh, wow. What helps the team more? Klesmit's got to give me something. He's got to give me something. How many times are we going to draw an inbounds play for Max Klesmit to fire up a 3? That's what hurt the Badgers down the stretch there in that first half without Tanjay, without Blackwell? Good Gandhi. It's Max Klesmit chucking darts up at the rim and nothing's going. And it's like, do something else. Like, what are we drawing up here? Greg Gard, call a timeout. Do something completely different than what's going on right now. It's just that end of the first half, I thought was just terrible offensively for the Badgers there. I think Blackwell is going to clean up his game. I think he's trying to do too much. I really do. I think Blackwell at times tries to force the issue and he gets himself into problems, right? When I watched the Badgers tonight there and they were turning the basketball over, they were driving into double teams. And they realized on their penetration the double team was coming too late. And when they realized it, it was more of the oh crap moment than it was feeling the game, right? You got to feel that. You got to feel. I always tell my boys, right? I coach young basketball, right? But I always teach my boys dribble with a purpose, right? If you're going to dribble, if you're going to drive, if you're going to do everything, you dribble with a purpose. When you go, you got to go, right? And when you go, you got to have your path. You got to almost think ahead. What's going to happen, right? And that's where I think the Badgers kind of getting caught is they're getting out of control at times. And that's where I think Blackwell is running into a lot of his problems is he's getting himself out of control. And he's trying to do too much with the basketball. They're not working within the offense. I write down in my notes every single stinking game, it seems like, get Crowell involved. Get the big guys involved. And it seems like they do at times. And everything looks good. The offense starts to flow. We start utilizing the post. We're working through the post. They don't work through the post consistently. They don't work side to side across both sides of the floor consistently. The ball sponge. It's like it sticks to the outer. It sticks to the perimeter at times. And when it sticks to the perimeter, the Badgers, they aren't that good of a team when it sticks to the perimeter. They are a good 3-point shooting team when the ball works inside out, when they kick to shooters, when they find their shooters. When they stick that ball in the perimeter and they try to create shots, they're not as good of shot creators. I will tell you this now. I love John Tanjay. He's better on the catch and shoot. Everybody is. Everybody is. Some guys can create shots. John Tanjay can create shots. So can John Blackwell. Max Klesmit, when he's actually feeling it, can create shots. But they're better on the catch and shoot. And how do you utilize that? How do you get guys into rhythm in a game, right? Klesmit's a prime example. How do you get that guy into a rhythm? Catch and shoot. Find him in an open shot. They don't do that consistently. And that's where I think they get away from that kind of stuff. So that's a loaded up question there. What helps the team more? Klesmit regaining his form, or Blackwell cleaning up his game? I think it's got to be a little bit of both. I think it does. In a game like it was tonight against Maryland, you needed Max Klesmit to find something. When John Tanjay and John Blackwell were out, when the Johns were out, you were like, okay, who's my scorer, right? Because you had Janicki on the floor, you had Gilmore, you had Crowell or Winter in there, you had McGee. McGee can score it, but you're like, who is my main threat, right? It's supposed to be Klesmit. And we've said it all along. The Johns can score it. Those two are your catalysts, right? They're the ones who keep it going. Those are your two guys. But if they could find that third scorer that could do it consistently, this team would take it to another level. And that's Max Klesmit. If he can find that consistency, this team takes it to another level there. John said turnovers, and I agree. First half, turnovers were a problem. That's what we're talking about with the penetration, getting caught up in double teams there and everything in between. 10 turnovers for the Badgers. And if you look back, you can look back at every loss for Wisconsin, it's 10-plus turnovers. Look at the game against Marquette, 10-plus turnovers. This game, 10 turnovers. You can't go on the road with an inconsistent shooting night where you're shooting 37% and turn the basketball over 10 times. You can't. You can't do it. And you can't miss 6 free throws along with that. You just can't. Those are your can'ts that you can't do on the road there. You can't allow so many offensive rebounds. Maryland had too many offensive rebounds in this game, 9. And that was in that first half there. The Badgers would get stops, and it'd be an offensive rebound, a kick out to a 3, and it would be a can. And it was just like you were asking for it. You were asking for Maryland to hang around. You had opportunities. The Badgers had a lot of opportunities in that first half to extend that lead further than what it was. And they just left it hang. They just left it hang. They left it hang. They left the door open, and Maryland was able to capitalize there. Red Shit went on to take my take. Klesmit isn't going under screens like Blackwell. We can win without Klesmit on offense, but we need him on D. We can't win with sloppy Blackwell. Yeah, well, yes. I would say yes, right? They've won without Klesmit on offense. I will agree with that. But in a game like this, where Blackwell and Tanjay are both in foul trouble, you can't win without Klesmit on offense. You need him to be somewhat of a threat. That's where I think Wisconsin's going to run into issues is if they don't utilize the post, if Crowell becomes a non-factor in a game, and you just rely on John Blackwell and John Tanjay goes away. I don't know if anybody else is noticing this right now, but it seems like in some of these games here, John Tanjay just goes away. I don't know where he goes. I don't know what happens, but I'm going to put it on Greg Gard to find ways to get shooters open. Because you can tell me, because this is going to be the guaranteed story that you'll get right there, is that, well, they changed up the defensive scheme, so John Tanjay was covered up. All right. Make the adjustment and change up the offensive scheme to get John Tanjay open. He's your best shooter. Like, I love John Blackwell, but I think Tanjay's a better shooter from the outside. John Blackwell can get it. I'm not saying he can't, but John Tanjay's a better shooter from the outside. But you can't have John Tanjay just completely go away in games. Yeah, he gets... look at the last game out there. He got hot right at the beginning. And then he went through like a 12-minute spurt where he didn't even shoot the basketball. Where does he go? Right? And we're going to get the story. Well, the defense turned it up on him. They were closing him off. You got to find a way to get that son of a gun open then. You got to find... he is your star. And when your star is getting covered up, you're going to struggle, right? You're going to struggle. And that's where I'm saying I would agree, the Red Shit, that I would agree with you that Klesmit can just be a defender and a passer when the offense is working, when everybody else is out there and everything's churning and everything's great, right? But on a day like today, when they were calling crappy fouls, because I can go through all them fouls that they called, and they were a lot of crap fouls that they were calling on the Badgers. I will agree. I heard a lot of people complaining about it. I will agree there was some crappy calls. The one on Gilmore, the shooting foul they called, the one where Blackwell was driving and they called it on the ground and it was a shooting foul clearly. I mean, they call a lot of crappy fouls. I will agree. But on a day like today, when those two get into foul trouble, you need Klesmit. He needs to step up. He needs to be the guy. And he wasn't. And that's where you ran into your problems. He took a lot of shots, 1 for 8 from the field, and he was 1 for 6 from downtown. And a lot of those shots were late in that first half. And he just couldn't find the rim. He couldn't find it. And it's not the fact that his shots are short or long. It's the fact that his shots are left or right. He's not there. He's not feeling it. His shot is something's wrong. Something's wrong inside that shot right now. I don't know what it is, but something's wrong in that shot. He missed 2 free throws early on in the game, too. I mean, you look, he missed a layup point blank. He drove the lane, did everything right, got to the rim, and he missed the layup. I mean, you look, take away, there was a missed layup by Klesmit later on in the game with like 3 to go. You take the John Tanjay layup that he had at the rim, and he missed it there late in the game. That's 4 points. Final score is 76-7. That would have been 76-72 right there. You missed 6 free throws. Blackwell missed 2 of them. And then you watch Crowell missed 1. Klesmit missed those 2 early ones. There's your difference in your games. The Badgers had everything possibly that they could do wrong on the offensive end went wrong in this game for them. It all went wrong. All at one time. I came out of this game, I was like, yeah, Maryland, they're a good team. They're a good team. I did not come out of this game thinking that Maryland is better than Wisconsin. And I would love to argue with Maryland fans that would tell me that Maryland is better than Wisconsin. I will go through it again with you. They're not better than Wisconsin. They beat Wisconsin. I'll give you that. They beat Wisconsin. It was one of those kinds of games, right? But Wisconsin played their worst offensive game in this game. Layups. Simple. Layups. Free throws. The little things. The little things that Wisconsin has excelled at all season long went wrong in this game. And once again, turnovers hurt. Turnovers hurt there. And then, Kamari missed the bunny. He had that little bunny shot that he missed there too. Kamari had a couple shots where he was going up, and unusual play from Kamari McGee in this. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, Wisconsin just played. This wasn't Wisconsin basketball, and this is where I'm gonna go to that the scary times, right? The scary times with Wisconsin basketball. This is where I get worried because consistently throughout the years, Wisconsin gets to about end of January, February, right at the beginning of February, and everything is going just fine for the Badgers, and there's 16 wins, and they're going great, and then all of a sudden, they just hit a wall, and they can't get over the hump, and they start dropping games left and right. Nobody knows what's happening, right? Last year, Nebraska just hurt the Badgers. I don't know what happened in Nebraska, but they hurt the Badgers. After that, it went on a downhill tailspin. It's like, what the heck? My biggest question coming off of this game, because you're not going back to the Kohl Center to play in your next matchup. You're going to Northwestern. You got to go back on the road to Northwestern. And Northwestern's a good ball club. They're a good team. It's another hostile environment. My biggest question is, do you answer the bell when you go to Northwestern? How do you respond to a game like this where you struggled mightily? John Tonje had 23 points. He had a decent night, right? And Stephen Crowell had 10 points. I believe Blackwell had 10 points. Outside of that, it was a struggling night. And defensively, that was going to be one of my points too there. I see the Red Shed said that Maryland shot 50% from three. And that was going to be one of my points there. The Badgers, their rotations are slow. They are slow to get out on shooters. They get caught ball watching a lot. They get caught ball watching. They overhelp. The other day against Nebraska, there was really good help. There's really good help side. This rotationally helping and then getting out onto shooters, it was terrible. There was Maryland had a lot of wide open shots, and partially, the one late, the killer was when it was a 54-50 game, and I believe Rice was the one who hit that three in transition. That was your killer, and that was a missed layup. A missed layup right at the rim. Maryland was able to get out and run and be able to put it through the rim, and that's your killers in basketball games right there. That was it. That was when I was like, yeah, it's over. That's it. Badgers don't have enough. They don't have enough in the tank. They're not knocking out enough shots. The offense doesn't look like it's in rhythm. It just looks rough tonight. It's just this. This was a game where we all have to take a breath. We all have to relax. It wasn't the Badgers' night. Everything that could go wrong, turnovers, 9 for 27 from downtown in this one. They shot 15 for 21 from the free throw line, 22 for 59 from the floor. Everything that could go wrong went wrong for Wisconsin. The offense wasn't there. Defensively, they struggled once again. And when you have a combo of bad offense, bad defense, and you don't hit your free throws, you're going to lose basketball games, especially on the road. Especially on the road. And it's in a place in Maryland where they haven't lost at all this season. You're going to lose basketball games. And when your two best players go out in the first half, one with 9 minutes to go and the other with about 6 minutes to go, and you don't have guys step up, yeah, that's going to happen. There was a lot of Kamari McGee on an inbounds pass, throws it into the guy's arms, gets it tossed, throws it into the guy's arms, and then gets called for a foul on an inbounds pass. He's the one inbounding it. Just the silly mistakes. The mistakes that can't happen, happened. So you just hope that you move on, you learn from this here, and that's what you're going to get from it there. I did miss one. The Red Shed said, I'm more concerned about the defense. Offensive slumps nights happen. Blackwell went under 3 screens that led to 9 points. That's what we can't see in March. I agree. After the first time going under a screen with Gillespie, I don't understand why you went underneath of it so many times. I don't. The Badgers, they don't learn from that. That's the problem. This is a year after year problem where we talk about going under screens on good shooters. They weren't looking to drive. They were looking to can it. This team in Maryland, like I said, I came off this game. This is a good team in Maryland. I don't think they're a great team. I don't. I think the Badgers are a better team. I really do. Watching it, yes, Maryland won. But if you give me that game 9 times out of 10, I think the Badgers win it 7. I do. I think they win it 7 times out of 10. I really do. This is everything that could go wrong with Wisconsin basketball right here. And it's just, will it become a trend? Will it become a trend? That's what we want to avoid. So, I mean, Aaron, was there anything that you saw coming off this game that sticks out to you? I mean, that we did cover?
Not a ton that we didn't already cover. I thought, because I finally got to watch a game there for the first time in weeks for Wisconsin. I thought Nolan Winter was kind of getting bullied a good bit. Like he just kind of looked like timid at the very least. Like he just didn't. Yeah. I don't know. He was kind of a basket case to a certain degree, in the post and stuff like that. I mean, I think your point on Max Klesmit, like that guy doesn't like. I'm not gonna say he's like garbage. Like I don't want to go that far, but he's like shaky at best some nights. You know what I mean? Like this was a night where it was like it's like deer in headlights to me. Like he's just kind of dribbling all over the place. He's like just jacking up a shot. He just doesn't look like comfortable whatsoever. And I think I think more so than anything for him, it's mental. I really do. I just watching him, he doesn't have that. Like even when Tanjay has, I've watched him in spurts where he doesn't have it. He looks like he looks like he knows he still has it. Where Klesmit's like, do I have it? He's like asking him. So he almost needs like reassurance. Do I have it? So those are a couple of things. I mean, like you said, big takeaways. I mean, Maryland started out this game not shooting well at all. And then all of a sudden they just couldn't miss, right? It was like, wow. It was one of those, I mean, that's going to happen sometimes. It just, like the start of this game, the trajectory of this game, I was like, Wisconsin will probably pull this out and it might not be a pretty win, but they'll pull it out. And then, like I said, I don't know. Maryland they were banging everything from outside. Like it just, I don't know. You're going to have nights like that, both ways. Like Wisconsin will have a night like that. The opposition will have a night like that. But yeah, I mean, the offensive boards for Maryland, some of those were just in crucial like moments where you could just continue to pile on momentum, I thought. And yeah, it was, I mean, like you said, all the things that could have went wrong and it unfortunately did, but maybe this is a huge wake up call to say, all right, boys, like let's get it together. I mean, you're not going to have solid shooting every night, but some of the things we need to fix and we need to fix it before it turns into a trend, like you had said there.
Yeah, no, I would agree. And we got to hit one more ad break here, but I wanted to hear, so I hope the Red Shed's still in here. I have a question, and I want to have an answer on the backside of this break here. I know we were talking about Max Klesmit there and what our thoughts were on Max Klesmit. Is it time that the Badgers think about maybe a guy like Kamari McGee coming into that starting spot and trying to take some of that pressure off of Max Klesmit there? So hopefully the Red Shed's still in here. I want to hear his opinion on that one, and I want to get our opinions on that one coming off the ad break. So we'll be right here after a quick ad break.
This show is brought to you by these fantastic sponsors. Marshfield Motor Speedway, located 3 miles outside of Marshfield on County Road H. Tons of family fun for all ages. Great food, great drinks, great racing. I cannot think of a better way to spend a summer day or night than down at the track. Next is Sports Scene in Marshfield, Wisconsin, located at the Marshfield Mall. Get down there and see Al. He has everything you need from sports cards, memorabilia, jerseys, model stock cars. He's got it all. Sports Scene in Marshfield. And then we have Peggy Sue Bestlick, Century 21. Do you want to find your dream home or maybe looking to sell your current property? Let Peggy Sue Bestlick at Century 21 help you with all of your housing or property needs.
You know what I tell you, Aaron? Buy, sell, get out of that clunker. It's a new year. It's a new you. That's what you got to do, right? Peggy Sue down at Century 21. I asked that question because we've watched the consistent struggle offensively for Max Klesmit. And I agree. Defensively, he has been better. He's been good defensively. And I look at him and I say to myself, offensively, he's not giving you much, right? That's confidence-wise, whatever it is. I look at a guy like Kamari McGee. He's been great. Fantastic. I don't even know what else. I mean, Kamari McGee, he struggled tonight here against Maryland there. He had a struggling night, 2 for 8 from the field, 1 for 3 from downtown. But if we want to look season stats, Kamari McGee is that guy. He has been that guy off the bench for the Badgers. Now, why I think it works for Wisconsin. What do we got here? He's got our plus minus with, so I'm guessing this is with Klesman on the floor. The Badgers were -6. With Kamari, they were -17 there on the game. Okay.
Just one game though. You know, like
tonight, if you're okay, we got to base it off the whole then, because if we're basing stats off tonight, the only guy who deserves to play is John Tonje and maybe Steven Krell, but that's about it. So we can't just base off tonight. I want to go as completely as a whole as we can here, right? Kamari McGee gives you a spark defensively. That's what we're talking about. Like the Red Shed said earlier, right? Going on with screens and everything. Kamari McGee gives you a spark defensively that I believe Max Klesman does currently too. What I mean is, I think Max Klesman still gives you the spark off the bench that you're looking for. He can come into games. He can play good defense. He can get after guys. He can still knock down shots. But sometimes a role change, bringing a guy off a bench versus starting a guy, it changes the mental focus, right? Sometimes it gives a little bit more drive. You want to get back in the starting rotation. You want to be the guy. It gives you a little bit more drive. Maybe it messes with psyche the opposite way. I don't know, right? But at this very moment, who would you rather have in your starting 5 to end a game? You need buckets, right? You're in a tight battle. You're in a tight battle with, let's just say, Michigan State, right? And you need buckets from everybody. You're not beating Michigan State with just John Blackwell and John Tonje, and that's it. You need other guys. Michigan State's been fantastic this year. And a lot of people are going to say, well, they've only played the bottom half of the Big Ten. They've still been good. So I look at a team like Michigan State. Who gives you the best? Which 5 gives you the best shot on beating a good team? That's where I look. And it's like, okay, I want to say Klesman, and I think Klesman could be the guy. But when I want offense, Kamari McGee's been more consistent. When I need the guy, when I need a shot late in the game. Right now, who are you taking? Max Klesman, who's shooting 28% on the year from downtown? I believe he's shooting 28%, if I'm not mistaken. Last time I looked. 28% from 3. And I don't want to knock on the guy because I love Max Klesman. I love the attitude he brings. He's a fantastic dude. Like, I don't want to knock on the guy. But when I look at shooting to shooting, when I look at offense to offense, Kamari McGee's numbers below Max Klesman's numbers out of the water right now. They do. Kamari McGee's shooting, a whopping 55% from 3 on the season right now, and he's shooting 53% from the floor, 84% from the free throw line. He's getting 2 rebounds a game and 2 assists per game. Kamari McGee blows Max Klesman out of the water right now. So when I think of a guy, when I'm looking at this rotation right now and I'm like, who deserves more minutes at this moment? When do you start to get concerned over Max Klesman? When do you start to say, what is going to be my best rotation in March? Let's say we're in March right now, right? And we need to have our best 5 on the floor to get us buckets. Would you want Kamari McGee sitting on the bench in that moment, or would you want Max Klesman on the bench? Which one? Who would you want? Right? If Max Klesman's feeling it, sure. If they're playing Marquette, sure. Because against Marquette, he goes off. So if we could play Marquette every single game, the guy would average 30 points a game. I don't know what it is. It's just when he plays Marquette, he goes off. Right now, maybe you don't start him, but you got to figure it out fast in a game if Max Klesman's on or off, right? I always used to lean forward with the Badgers. He would shoot like 1 or 2 threes. And you could tell if he was on or off. Aleem Ford was not a guy where it was like he was going to miss the first 2 and hit the next 5. It wasn't. If he missed the first 2, he was done. That was the day. Max Klesman's around that same mark right now. If he's feeling it, he's feeling it. But if he's off, oh man, he's off. And then what are you supposed to have? A guy peppering the rim late in the first half because nobody else out there will shoot the basketball. So it's like, what are you asking for there? I don't even know how to pronounce that word.
Fallacy.
Classic fallacy here. We'll call it the Devin Hester fallacy. You'll have to elaborate that one for me, Red Shed. We're kind of, I'll use the word illiterate. I'll say I'm illiterate here. I don't know what that means.
Maybe all or nothing, like type of.
There you go. There you go. He elaborated. Specialists don't always do better with more exposure. Corner 3, McGee is not shutting down their best scorer. He goes in when their best scorer is on the bench. I don't know about. I'm going to agree to disagree. I'm going to agree to disagree with that one there. I don't think Max Klesman's shutting down their best shooter, to be honest with you. I don't. I really don't. Not at this point. I don't. I don't think McGee's a good defender. And if you're telling me that you think McGee's not a good defender, I don't like. I think McGee's a good defender. I think he can defend. Right now, if you're telling me that Max Klesman, the reason why we have him on the floor is strictly for defense and he's a liability on the offensive end, what does that do for me? It just gives more guys to watch John Tonje and more guys to watch John Blackwell if Klesman's a liability. So if corner 3 McGee is just going to, if he's going to be able to knock down shots for me, cut to the rim and do those little things and make layups, sure, I'll take it. I will take it. Because at this point, Max Klesman is missing point blank. He's missing point blank. If we think that more exposure for Max Klesman right now is helping him, it's not. I thought maybe getting him more shots would help. He shot a lot tonight here. How'd that go? So I'm not saying that you're wrong, that more exposure for McGee is going to be the greatest thing in the world. I'm not saying that you're wrong, that that's going to be the key. I'm not saying it's going to be the key to putting McGee in there over Klesman. But what I'm saying is at this point, Max Klesman is a liability for me on the offensive end. And that just puts more eyes on the Johns. It puts more eyes that we can double off of him and shut down Crowell in the post because Crowell is going to get double teamed with Klesman's guy coming down. Guys can just rotate over. All they got to do is respect Tonje and Blackwell right now. You still got to respect Klesman. But until he starts knocking down shots, Maryland was like, right? But when Tonje got the ball, they were right up on him. When Blackwell got the ball, they were right up on him. When Klesman gets the ball, it's like, well, you want to do some dance out there, do some dance. We're going to stop you from driving to the rim. But after that, you want to try to shoot a step back three, shoot a step back three. There's no worry. I'm more worried about Nolan Winter shooting threes right now than I am. Not as a Badger fan, I'm not saying I'm more worried. Like if I'm a defender, I'm more worried about Nolan Winter shooting threes at this point than I am about Max Klesman. And I think that's the problem. So I don't know, like you said, if McGee getting in there more is going to help or if it's going to be the key. But at this point, I don't know what it hurts. I don't. And actually, honestly, I don't know if you're going to like this or not, but it gives Blackwell off the ball guard capabilities then. It allows Blackwell to work off the ball. It allows McGee to bring the basketball down the floor, be your true point guard, and it allows Blackwell to work off ball and maybe get more shots off the ball. Because the turnover problem that we're talking about right now, you're putting a lot of pressure on a guy in Blackwell who's a sophomore right now who's never really played outside of high school, played true point guard. He hasn't played true point guard at the college level until this season. You're putting a lot of pressure on that guy. McGee could take that pressure off by being the guard, being your true point guard, and letting Tonje and Blackwell be your off guard, your wings. Just let them be the wings. Those are two dynamic wings that you got there that can score it from 3 levels and can do it all. I wouldn't hate that. I wouldn't hate that at all. I think it brings a different dynamic in there. So, we'll see. I'm not saying it's going to be the key. Like I said, not saying it's going to be the key, but it's a thought. It's definitely a thought there, and it's something that's crossed my mind before because Klesman, this has been, we're 21 games into the season now? We asked at the 10-game mark if we should start to worry. And we're like, nah, he'll start to figure it out. When do you start to worry? When do you start to get to that point where you're like, crap, crap. What are we gonna do, right? What are we gonna do there? So Badgers dropped this one to Maryland, 76-68 there. I mean, we're not gonna lose our minds, right? We're okay. Badgers are okay. It's gonna be a big test now. They have Northwestern coming up next year. That's gonna be a big test. How do the Badgers bounce back? I think that's gonna be the true testament from past years to this year. What is the difference in resiliency of this team versus past years? Can they get over that hump, get this next one here at Northwestern? Because Northwestern, though the record doesn't show it, that's still a talented ball club. Bartonelli's still there. Lay's still there. They got good pieces. Martinelli, they have Barnheiser. They have good pieces across the board there. So this Northwestern game is going to be a tough one there. That'll be coming up. I believe that's on Saturday.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Saturday, 1:00 game there on FS1. So we'll see. That game's gonna be coming up at the Welsh Ryan Center. So we'll get more into that game on Friday here on the show. We'll preview that game, get more into it. We ran long today on the Badgers, so we had lots to get into today, but we're not even gonna get into it here today. But I want to leave a question with everybody. We're gonna get out of here right after this. I want to leave a question with everybody, and this is gonna be our opening topic on Friday on the show. So my question is, how close are the Green Bay Packers to the team or to the top teams in the league? How close are the Green Bay Packers to the top teams in the league? Now, this is what I'm gonna ask. This is gonna be the criteria. Are they in the same city? Are they in the same county? Are they in the same state? Are they even on the continent? Where are they? Right? We'll say country. We'll go country next. City, state, what did I say? City, county, state, country.
Country, yeah.
Where are they in ranking wise right now compared to the rest of the teams in the league? I want to get more into the Packers on Friday here because we got lots to get into, right? Free agency is right around the corner there. We want to talk about trades. We want to talk about some of the Packers free agents, who we'd bring back, who we're going to let go. The Reese's Senior Bowl is going on right now. Maybe we'll hear some rumblings out of there, right? Brian Gutekunst is talking with some of the Raiders executives there, so people are starting to get little anxious to see maybe Max Crosby or some of these other names coming across the board there. So, Aaron, before we get out of here, is there anything else you got to say to wrap us up here for the night?
I don't really think so. Couple weeks. I mean, week off of NFL will be weird. I will say that. No college football, no NFL this weekend, but I'm not complaining. I mean, it's. Well, maybe it's the Pro Bowl, right?
The Pro Bowl comes up.
If you consider that the Pro Bowl games, right?
The flag football, two-hand touch, church
dodgeball, and whatever else.
I don't even know. It's something. It's odd. Who knows? Somebody's gonna be there. I think Caleb Williams is the starting quarterback for the NFC because everybody else dropped out. I don't know. I have no idea what's happening.
I'll ask you this real quick. I know we already ran late, so we're already kind of screwed. But do you look at a guy at the end of his career, do you look at Pro Bowls as far as does that carry a lot of weight to you?
Not anymore.
Not anymore. That's where I'm at. It's weird that just the fact that I know Mahomes didn't have a great year, but to not have him in the it's just how much significant is a Pro Bowl selection anymore?
It's not. It doesn't mean as much to me anymore. It doesn't. Since they changed the game to this flag football, bull hooky crap, what is the offensive line like? I mean, I don't know. It's so odd to look back and see guys actually. Jeff Saturday's coming onto the AFC side and snapping it to Peyton Manning one last time. To see those videos of an actual football game, and now we're watching flag football, and guys don't even want to go. Right? I mean, look who would be they'd have to be in there Joe Burrows of the world and stuff like that, and they're like, I'm not playing. This is nothing. Why would I play?
I think eventually they go away from it and do I don't know if it's a consolation bracket where it's, but I don't. It's something different. It has to. This is not the move, I don't think, for this event. Whatever they want. It's not even a game anymore. It's just a bunch of random.
I don't even know what it is. I think you could honestly get away with not having the flag football and just having a skill competition, and people would watch. I think the skill competition's cool. I don't hate the skill competition. It's like the NBA skill competition wasn't terrible. It's just when you get the All-Star game, it's absolutely atrocious. Just terrible. Yeah. Maybe for the MLB, they should do a skills competition. That would be cool. Watch your outfielders who can throw the furthest, who can just rip one. who's got the best accuracy from the center field fence or something wild. Like, and then you got pitchers out there who can like put it through a pinhole. And it's, I mean, just some weird like things you can do with different like pitchers, hitters, whatever, just to see some of the talents. Like, I think that'd be cool. Like,
No, I
hit the target. Like, that'd be cool.
I absolutely love that. I just know that they're gonna be so scared of injury. Like, because guys will like if you're talking who
Yeah.
can throw the far, like I love that idea in theory. I just
Trevor Bauer.
baseball.
He'd throw that baby over top of the center field fence and he'd keep on flying.
I want to see who can throw it like furthest from the outfield to like just forever long. Like, remember Yasiel Puig would throw it from like the wall, well, like one hopper from the wall, like from the
Who
Warriors.
had that? Ioannis Cespedes. That was
Yes.
Ioannis Cespedes had the gun and a half there of an arm.
Yeah.
So, Aaron, we got to get the hay out of here. We ran long tonight here. You can find us across social media, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, TikTok. You can find us on Twitter, Twitch, and TikTok. Just search Wisconsin or Wisco Sports on the Go. And on Facebook and YouTube, find us there, Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. And coming up on February 12th, you can find us on 92.3 WOSQ here in Central Wisconsin. You can find us on there on Wednesday nights. From 7 to 8 there, we'll have our show on there. So with that, for Aaron and myself, this has been Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. Thank you all for tuning in. We'll catch you guys back here